Greetings, my people. Welcome back. I am about to share with you a story about how a person's vanity led them to the path of destruction. Once upon a time, in the heart of medieval Igbo land, in a village surrounded by dense forests and towering trees, lived an old woman called Omaka. Her face was wrinkled, her back was hunched, her eyes were dim. Villagers mocked her for her appearance, treating her with disdain and cruelty. They called her names and avoided her like a plague. Omaka, though hurt, had learned to endure the harshness, finding solace in the forest where she gathered her herbs and whispered to the trees. One fateful day, Omaka ventured deeper into the forest than usual. She stumbled upon an odd-looking man struggling to carry heavy loads of firewood. Despite her own frailty, Omaka helped this man, offering him water and easing his burden. The odd man, very grateful and intrigued by her kindness, revealed himself to have powers to grant wishes. He offered her a wish for her selfless act. Omaka, taken aback, hesitated. Then, with a trembling voice, she said to him, "I wish to be beautiful." The odd man warned her that beauty would come at a cost. She would have to steal natural beauty from younger, beautiful women. But the change would only last for 6 months before their beauty would be returned to them. So she will have to repeat this spell over and over again. Desperate for a chance at a different life, Omaka agreed. The spirit handed her a vial filled with mystical liquid and instructed her to pour it into a well. Omaka took this vial and went to the secret village well in the middle of the forest. And she poured it inside and watched as it glowed with magical light. Omaka lured her first vain victim, a young woman called Ifiatu, to the well, promising her even greater beauty. When she gazed into the well, her face aged instantly, and Omaka felt her own face tighten and transform into a youthful beauty. The young woman, now looking old, was horrified and begged Omaka to reverse the spell. Omaka, admiring her new beauty, coldly told her that she would not and that the beauty would go back to her automatically in 6 months. She told Ifiat to rely on her inner qualities, learn humility and kindness. Meanwhile, Omaka basked in the attention and the admiration that she longed for. 6 months later, Omaka targeted Adako, a beautiful but conceited young woman who constantly sought for ways to enhance her looks. Omaka approached her, whispering to her about a well that had magical properties. Adako, greedy for more beauty, eagerly followed Omaka to the well. As she gazed into the water, her face aged rapidly, while Omaka's wrinkles smoothened and her features transformed into that of a young, beautiful woman. Omaka continued experiencing life as a beautiful woman. Villagers treated her with respect and admiration, a stark contrast to the ridicule she endured. She reveled in her newfound beauty, forgetting the suffering that she caused other people. The change in her appearance lasted exactly 6 months before the magic wore off and Omaka reverted back to her old self. Determined to maintain her beauty, Omaka sought out another young woman called Chinyere, who was also vain and eager to enhance her beauty. The cycle repeated itself. Chinyere's youth and beauty was transferred to Omaka, who once again basked in the attention and the admiration of the villagers. With each transformation, Omaka's addiction grew. Omaka's addiction to beauty consumed her. She forgot why she was doing this in the first place. She became exactly the kind of person she loathed. It all reached new heights with her next victim, a young woman named Nneka. Unlike the others, Nneka possessed a mesmerizing beauty unseen before. Omaka was obsessed with her immediately and wanted her beauty. Unbeknownst to Omaka, Nneka's beauty was actually not physical but spiritual. You see, Nneka used to be sick and had a deformed face. She had the biggest lump on her face that caused her face to droop to the floor. So Nneka sought the help of an odd man who she helped, who told her that if she made sacrifices with the longevity of her life, that he could help her become beautiful. But the only way she could become permanently beautiful was to find someone who would willingly take her natural beauty. Omaka lured Nneka to the well of youth, deceiving her that she would become more beautiful. She asked Nneka to look into the well. When Nneka obeyed her, she was shocked that Nneka's beauty still remained on her face. This had never happened before, as Nneka was supposed to immediately transform into an old, ugly woman, while Omaka became young and beautiful. But instead, Omaka's face became ugly, with a huge lump that drooped to the floor. This was because Nneka's natural face was deformed, and Omaka was only seeing and was enticed by Nneka's spiritual beauty. Omaka started crying. "What have you done to me, you evil witch?" Nneka started laughing, confessing that she had been targeting Omaka after one of her friends, Chinyere, told her about an old witch that stole her beauty. She began stalking and monitoring her activities. She saw how Omaka stole women's natural beauty and decided to try her luck to see if she could get rid of her own ugliness forever. Now that Omaka has taken her ugly face, she would stop sacrificing her life longevity, and the spiritual beauty will become permanent on her face. After Omaka heard this, she begged her to give her back her old wrinkled face, which was much better than this lump drooping face. Nneka laughed again and told her that it was permanent. Omaka begged and begged, but nothing could be done. Omaka started regretting getting greedy and addicted to beauty, as her initial aim was to teach young beautiful women not to be vain and not to rely just on their beauty, but rather on their inner qualities. Omaka, now bearing the deformity that she had unwillingly taken from Nneka, was faced with the harsh reality of her actions. The village, which once mocked her for her age and appearance, now regarded her with a mix of horror and pity. She could no longer find solace in the forest, from the trees, and the herbs offered her no comfort, because she was consumed with regret and self-loathe. Days turned into weeks as Omaka's life became a living nightmare. She could no longer hide behind her beauty. Her true nature was laid bare for all to see. The villagers that once shunned her now gathered around her in curiosity, wondering what happened to the old woman, who now looks more grotesque than before. One day, driven by desperation and remorse, Omaka gathered the villagers in the center of the square. She stood before them, trembling. Her lumped face was a testament of her mistakes. With a voice choked with emotion, she began to confess, "I wronged many of you," her eyes welling with tears. "In my desperation for beauty, I stole from young and innocent women. I took what was not mine. Now I am paying the price." The villagers listened and stunned in silence as Omaka recounted her encounter with the old spirit, her wish, her subsequent beauty theft from Adako, Chinyere, and others. She described the intoxicating power of beauty and how it consumed her, leading her down a path of deceit and cruelty. She said, "I thought beauty would bring me happiness, that it would make me whole. But in my pursuit, I lost myself. I became a monster, hurting those who did not deserve it. I wanted to teach a lesson about vanity, but in the end, it was I who needed to learn." Omaka's confession left the villagers in a state of shock and introspection. While some were quick to condemn her, the others saw genuine remorse in her eyes and pain that she carried. The village council, moved by her heartfelt exchanges, decided to hold a ceremony of forgiveness and healing for her. They recognized that Omaka's action was wrong. Her suffering and remorse had brought important lessons to the community. The ceremony was held at the Well of Youth, the source of both Omaka's rise and fall. The villagers gathered, bringing offerings of food, water, flour, herbs. They sang songs of reconciliation and unity, their voice blending harmoniously under the canopy of ancient trees. Omaka, standing on the edge of the well, felt a sense of peace she had not known in years. With the ceremony now complete, the village began to heal. Omaka, though marked with her past and unable to change her face, found a new purpose for helping others. She became a healer, using her knowledge of herbs and newfound wisdom to aid those in need. The villagers, who were once scornful, now respected and valued her contribution. Omaka's story became a legend and a tale to young and old alike about the dangers of vanity and the true nature of beauty. The village thrived, united by the lessons they have learned and the strength found in forgiveness. The end. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, subscribe. Watch our other interesting videos posted on our channel. We cannot wait to have you as a member of our AfricanFolktale TV Addict channel. Thank you so much for your support.